Yo, what's good, family? It's Saturday night, and we get to have a conversation about finances, but more importantly, is a conversation about life and relationships and arguments. Good arguments, bad arguments, all types of arguments. We're gonna dive in. It's gonna be an interesting live today. Hey, if you're new to the channel, I'm Marcus. You're at the channel of the Debt Free Dad, where we're talking finances, attorney reactions, all that good stuff in between. Always got to throw the disclaimer out. I am a licensed attorney in several places, but none of those places amount to me being your attorney. So if you're looking for legal or financial advice, go seek a professional. You should not listen to a talking head on YouTube, even if it's me, your boy DFD. All right. Now, before we talk about this car and this argument situation, right? And long story short, we're going to talk about how I got caught up. I got caught up in a car situation. Y'all may not know this about me, but I'm a car guy. I don't got 65,000 cars, but when I do have a car, I want a certain type of car. I want a particular type of car, and I don't want anything outside of that because I'm just that's me. I don't once I got a car, I'm good, but when I get a car, I'm gonna get the damn car that I want. I would actually probably go without a car in the long run just to get the car I want if it was just unilaterally up to me. I'm like, I suck it up for a year and a half without a car because I don't need one in the city, really. I could figure some things out just to get the car that I want as opposed to buy something that I don't want. Now, that logic can lead you down a path of financial turmoil if you don't play it right. So I want to talk about a situation that happened, why I was even in the market for another car, why I had my eye set on the Tesla, and what happened. Before we start the story, the thumbnail for this video was really hard to make. Like, I went to find like silhouettes of couples arguing, and I realized that there are no silhouettes of couples arguing that appear to be the shadows of black people. Every couple, it was like Tom and Susie were having an argument. I could not find a silhouette where like Jamal and I don't know Jasmine were arguing. It's like so apparently Google search only has silhouettes of white couples arguing. So that's what you got on the thumbnail. Trust me, I looked long and hard, up and down, all over, couldn't find it. Now, why was I in the market for a new vehicle? All right. Y'all know if you watch this channel for a long time, I like older cars. I just like old school cars back when they were metal. You can actually jump on the hood of the car and it won't bend. Well, my car that I had, it was a 2007 Mercedes S550. It was a great deal. And I'm not going to say I love that car, but I cared a lot about that car. Okay. I purchased the car in, I don't know, 2018, I think, something like that. Got it, paid it off in like 20 months or something like that. Well, I'm not going to say that car was bad luck, but there was always somebody hitting me in that car. Literally, like one, two, three, four. I think I had four accidents in that car, all where someone hit me. Literally, like I want to say maybe a couple weeks ago, I was dropping my son off at the airport, and I'm literally parked, and the lady in front of me just backed into me and hit me. So it's always somebody hit me from the front side. That car is just kind of a curse. I was like, man, I think that's a bad luck car, right? So what happened? I was in an automobile accident. Car got damaged. Now, hey, luckily everybody was okay. No harm, no foul. But as soon as I saw the damage to the hood, I already knew that, oh, this is going to be a total loss. Not that the damage was really substantial, but the repairs for that car, the parts are just going to be expensive. So I already knew, like, okay, they're going to go ahead and cash me out, right? And I think when I bought the car, I paid like 20 or 21 stacks for the car. And I got a good payout. I think it was like 16.5 or something. So relatively good payout, right? So here I am in the market for a car. Now, over the past few weeks, one thing that I've been looking at as I've been going through the budget is what we spend on fuel. What's one of the problems when you want to drive a luxury car? I don't care if it's old or new or whatever. You have to put the most expensive gas in that damn thing. It's a pain in the you know what. So I have a car that's paid off. It's a big ass car. I have to put premium in the car, and it's costing me anywhere between 95 to $105 to fill this vehicle up. How many times do I have to fill up in a month? Well, in the summer, not as much, but generally on average, I'm probably spending about 300 to $325 a month in gas between dropping the kids off to school, picking them up, going to do the things I got to do. It's generally about $325 a month, somewhere around that range. So I had this idea, right? I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna have a car, I shouldn't have to pay for gas. I think that's a logical argument, right? I was like, I don't want to pay for gas no more. It's just gonna keep going higher and higher. Eventually, gas gonna be like $7, and we just gonna be suckers at the pump paying it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not paying gas anymore. I'm going to get an electric car. So now my mind has already shifted to I'm going to get an electric car, right? Now, I'm doing all this research. I'm looking at all these cars. Again, as I started this video out saying that when I get a car, I typically want to get a car that has everything I want. If I made a list of four things that the car should have, one of those things I'm willing to do without. The remaining three have to be in there. So I'm looking at electric cars. I mean, I looked at everything from a Nissan Leaf, which was too small and didn't have no range. I don't know if y'all ever seen a Nissan Leaf. It's like you can plug it up like you charge your cell phone. It's a real small hatchback car. I looked at a Nissan Leaf. I looked at I think it's called I can't think of what it's called. Fisker is the company who made it. They was supposed to rival Tesla. It was a beautiful car, but that car had so many defects in it. Now they trying to rebrand themselves and come out with something new, but that was a no go. So I ended up falling, even though I'm not really a Tesla guy. I'm not like a Tesla stock guy. Oh, Tesla. But I was like, you know what? They got all the charging stations. They got the infrastructure. They send the people out to fix it if something's wrong with it. That's probably what I'm going to go with. So then I start researching different types of Teslas. And this is when I found out how corny Elon Musk was. Did y'all know the name of the Tesla vehicles spell out the word sexy? I was like, Elon Musk is a real goofy for that. I didn't think of it until I started looking. He got the Model S, then he has the Model 3, which is an E backwards, then the Model X and the Model Y. Sexy? Come on, dude. You couldn't think of anything else, but that's neither here nor there. So I started researching all of these vehicles. And again, I don't know what it is. Like, I act like I'm 6'7", right? I'm 6 feet tall. I act like I'm 6'7" because anytime I get in the car, I literally look at cars and be like, oh, I can't ride in that. That's too small for me. Like I'm 6'7", 265 pounds or something like that. But I typically like cars that are like big ass cars. You know what I mean? No, it's not an overcompensation thing. I know that's what y'all thinking. What's going on, Lisa? I appreciate you tuning in. But I typically like larger vehicles. So I was looking at the Tesla Model X, right? I mean, I was on some looking at the warranties, looking at all this other stuff when it comes to vehicles. And I found one I like. Now, during this time, this period, I had a rental, I had some time without a car. And I'm telling my wife, like, oh man, we can do this. And I'm telling my wife all these details, and she's doing what she always does when I tell her something that she's really not interested about. She listening, but it's like passive listening. It's not like active listening. So that's neither here nor there. But I found a vehicle and I was like, oh man, this is a dope vehicle. Now I never purchased a vehicle from a private seller, but it was a guy from a private seller. A private seller, I was going to go test drive it out. So I hopped in my car. I drove about 45 minutes away because I never buy cars in DC. Cars in DCs, they probably got hidden drug compartments and people driving them over these crazy streets. I normally go somewhere out in VA, Delaware, or North Carolina, because typically that's where you find the best deals at. Now I go test drive this vehicle, right? Now, here was the first sign from the financial guys that I probably shouldn't get this vehicle. But let me back up a little bit. The original plan was, and I'm not one of those guys like car loans are goofy. but I'm not necessarily opposed to a car loan if you get one within a certain rule. Well, what are the rules? Generally, if you can pay for a car cash, do it. But if you have to get something reliable with warranty, I get it. The general rule is 20% down. You don't want to finance it for more than 36 months, and it shouldn't be more than like 10% of your income. Those are generally the three rules. If you can follow those three rules, you'll never get too much car to where you got a nice ass car and you don't got no gas, or you can't do anything else but just drive around in your nice ass car, right? So the original plan was, okay, once we pay off all of our debt, everybody can go out and get whatever the hell kind of car you want, as long as when you purchase it, it conforms to that rule. 20, 36, 10. All right. 20% down, no financing no longer than 36 months. I typically don't like to do 36 months, and no more than 10% of your income is your monthly payment. If you can fit it into that, go get whatever the hell you want, right? Now, question: where are we with the student loan payoff? Right now, I owe about $30,000 remaining on my student loan, and it could be anywhere from 10 to 15 months before I zero that out. It could be sooner. It just kind of depends on how soon do I begin my new permanent job. If I started sooner, I'll pay it off sooner. If I started later, I'm just going to maybe let it slide out a few more months. Maybe, I don't know. But $30,000 is what I'm looking at, right? Got it down from $109,000 in 2001 to $32,000 where is that now? Now, on the other hand, my wife still has about $130,000 in student loans, but she got about 10 more months, 12 more months before all of her loans are forgiven, right? So we're, in theory, a year from now, 10 to 12 months from now, all the student loans will be gone. The only thing we'll have is a mortgage. Our mortgage is, as a percentage, I want to say it's probably, let's see, it's probably like 18% of our monthly income because we just got a good deal, then we refinance at a good rate. But that was the game plan. Pay off all the student loans. Once we don't have anything but a mortgage, hey, go get what you want to drive. You go get what you want to drive, as long as it conforms to these rules, right? But here I am. I had a lump sum of money that was given to me for a car. I saw the car that I wanted, and I was like, I'm gonna go get this vehicle. So this was the first sign that the financial gods were telling me you shouldn't buy this vehicle right now, right? I go to test drive the car, and oh man, it was amazing. Like I'm definitely, when I do get a car, it's definitely going to be a Tesla, and it's probably going to be a Model X. It was the most amazing car drive that I've drove, and I drove a lot of cars. I mean, BMWs, Mercedes. I drove cars that I could never ever afford, and it was an amazing vehicle to drive. Okay, it's simply amazing. I was in awe. Like I was like, man, this is a dope ass vehicle. But the first sign from the financial guys that I shouldn't purchase this vehicle because I didn't have enough to buy it outright in cash, right? But I did have enough to get it and still conform with the 20, 36, 10 rule, right? So I still would have fit within those parameters. But I had a conversation with the guy who had the vehicle, right? And me and him having a conversation. And this guy was a school teacher, right? Now, I don't know where he taught school at, or what kind of teacher he was, or whatever his situation was. But generally, school teachers don't make that much money, right? And when I asked him about the vehicle, like, man, why you getting rid of it? He proceeded to go on a 15-minute story of him and his wife's debt and how they had to downsize their house and how they got to get rid of this vehicle. And so that was the first sign where I was like, oh man, I wish this guy wouldn't have told me about his situation and just gave me the damn keys so I could test drive it. Nobody, like, that was my fault. I shouldn't have asked him. Never ask somebody, oh, why are you getting rid of it? Because I got a 15-minute story about how dire their financial situation was and they wanted to get from underneath this car. Any event, I go test drive the car. I'm hooked. I come home. Immediately, I do what any responsible husband does when he's excited about something. You come home and be like, man, driving that. And it was funny because my wife was like, oh, where you at? I was like, I'm going to go test drive this car. She was like, you going to test drive a car without me? And I was like, when have I ever taken you to test drive a car that I was buying for me? Like, no, no. We go together to test drive cars for you because I love you, but you don't know what the hell you're looking for. You buy a car and it may be no engine in it with two gerbils running on the wheel to power that damn thing. So I have to go with you when you're looking for a car. When I'm looking for a car, you don't have to come with me unless you want to just see if I look flying it or not. But generally, I don't need you because you are gonna be like, oh, you know what? These tires are wearing out on the inside. Maybe there's something wrong with the front end. Like, no, you're not gonna give me any guidance. So typically, you're not coming with me. So it was odd for her to ask, well, oh, you're not gonna take me with you? I was like, no. When have you ever came with me to buy a car? But I come home, I tell the wife, like, hey, I drove it. It was amazing. Like, okay, I can jump out there because we just don't operate like that. I'm not just gonna go spend, you know, 35, 40 racks on the car and just like, oh, I'm just getting this and it's something we haven't convened on, right? But I was like, hey, I drove it, it was smooth. These are the numbers. Oh, we could do this and probably knock it out in 24 months, right? And it just kind of marinated right then, right? So later on, I came back. I was like, well, what do you think? Do you think we should make this purchase, right? And the other thing I was thinking of too is, and this is something that I ain't gonna lie, I was getting caught up in. When it's something that you really want, even if it is not the right time for you to buy it, you start to make dumbass excuses as to why you should buy it, right? I literally was thinking in my mind, like, all right, well, in 10 to 12 months, little man gonna be getting ready to go off to college. We're gonna have to get all this shit up there. We're gonna have to get all this stuff up there. I can't fit it in my wife's car, and I can't fit in a small car. So this big ass car would be perfect. Like I'm literally making all these things to rationalize this purchase in my head, even though it fell within the parameters of generally what I would try to do for purchasing a vehicle if I had to take out a loan, right? And so she was like, no, I don't think you should do it. I think you should just get something. And so I was like, all right, well, if you don't want me to get that, the other option is I'll just go without a vehicle for a while, stack up, then just, boom, be able to put like 70% down and there's a done deal. Well, she was like, no, we need a car. I personally was like, I don't think we need a car. I mean, we stay in the city. We can get wherever we need to go. But then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, it's gonna get old when she gone some all day somewhere with my daughter doing some dance stuff, and I'm sitting in the house and my son getting on my nerves. So, a fair point, right? So a couple days go by. I'm still on the point of I'm getting this damn car. I mean, I already figured out the financial situation, how we gonna make it happen. I took all of this stuff into consideration, right? And I was like, hey, all right, this do or that time. What you think about the vehicle? And she told me the answer I didn't want to hear. I was like, what the hell you mean in my head? I was like, no, we getting this car because it's the car I want. It's got everything on it that I'm looking for. And it was a good ass deal. It was a good ass deal. Like part of it was if it was a bad deal, I probably wouldn't have been so fixated on getting it. But it was such a good deal. I was like, man, I can't guarantee that this deal may be around in another 10 to 12 months. So I probably should jump on this deal, right? And so you know, it kind of got into a heated discussion. It wasn't an argument or nothing. We wasn't in here slapping each other out. But we was going back and forth of this reason, that reason, this. And then she said something that I don't like when I get into a discussion or argument and then you use something that I said to win the argument. Like, don't do that. No, if you want to win the argument, you come up with your own damn points to win the argument. Don't come up with a point that I already made to give to me to make me feel stupid to win an argument. That's disrespectful as hell. You come up with your own points. I know what I said and I know when I said it, but I don't want you to tell me what I said when I said it that making me make put things in perspective right now. I don't like that. But the thing that she said that, you know, it kind of pushed me back off the ledge. She was like, I thought the whole plan was once we pay everything off, Everybody can go get whatever they want if they so choose, long as it fits within these rules. So why you want to break the plan now? Then the next thing she said was, and you're gonna feel crazy when you have to go on your channel and tell all your family members, all your tribe members that you got this car, and you said, damn with the rules and the plan that you had when you started this channel 2, 3 years ago. And I was like, God damn it. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, man, she make me sick. And so I didn't even say nothing. As she said that, I just kind of walked out. Then I let a couple days go by. I didn't even call the guy back about the car, right? I think he hit me out. He tried to shake me down for some more money. Ooh, somebody gave a cash offer. All right, well, take the offer then, fool. I ain't about to give you more than what you asking for. I look like boo boo the fool. But after a couple of days, this is how I apologize. This not an apologize. It's not an apology, but this is my concession if I lose an argument. I went in the room and I was like, you get on my nerves, but you was right. I literally was like, I smacked my teeth. I was like, man, you get on my damn nerves, but you know what? You was right. So, hey, to the victor goes the spoils. She was right. She put it in perspective. And the bottom line is, yo, can you wait 10 to 12 months to get what it is that you want? And her point was like, why get a car and buy it from a third party now where in 10 to 12 months, if you want it, you can buy it from the dealership under the same conditions and you can get a better, newer model and have a warranty and all that other good stuff on it. And I was like, man, here she go again, fucking making sense, damn it. But she made sense. And so I was at a point where I was like, damn, I gotta figure out what vehicle I'm gonna buy, right? So I got a homeboy of mine who he's a general manager of a couple car dealerships way out in Virginia. And so I call him and I tell him what I want to spend. Now I told you I got back like 16.5, from the insurance company. I damn sure I ain't want to spend all that money because in the back of my mind, I'm like, yep, I'm getting that damn Tesla. I'm gonna get it 10 to 12 months. It's gonna be in my driveway and it's gonna be looking clean. So I didn't want to spend all my money, but I knew I needed to get something. And so I tried to figure out, and I'm like, I'm looking at all these cars, and of course, I'm like, I don't want something that's going to cost me $300 a month to fill up. So I already knew I wasn't getting no Mercedes or no BMW or anything like that. I actually had a conversation with one of my homegirls, and she said something, and I thought about it. She said, if I were ever to get a luxury car, I would just get a Lexus because all it is an upgraded Toyota, and it doesn't cost a lot to fix. And I was like, as like when I have an idea, it's not like a light bulb cut on. It's like two cavemen and they rubbing sticks together. Then the smoke come, then the fire start. Like I always, that's kind of how my thought process was. So the cavemen were busy rubbing the sticks, and I was like, man, let me look at a Lexus. It might be something that is nice, decent. I'm not gonna have to break the bank. It's cheap to repair, easy on gas. So I go down to the dealership. I see a car I want. It was a Lexus SUV RX 300. Smaller SUV. It's probably like the size of a Honda CRV or something like that. But I go down to the dealership, I check it out. Everything is good, it's smooth, good shape. And when I bought this vehicle, it was three things that I thought about because I was like, okay, I'm not getting the Tesla because I want to make sure I could we want to zero out all the student loan stuff, right? But if I get this car, there's a few things I want. I don't want to pay a lot in gas. So I don't have to put premium in this car. Thank the Lord. I could put regular cheap ass petrol in this car. I filled this thing up the other day and it cost me $45. Like I had so much elation and happiness at the pump. People probably thought I was ridiculous. Like I never print out my receipt when I get gas. I printed out my receipt and brought it home and was like, look, it only cost me $45 to fill up. So it was cheap on gas, $45 to fill up. Now, when you buy used cars, always some stuff you're going to have to fix off the jump. Just because you don't know everything, all the ins and outs. You buy a used car, you probably buying it as is. I know I am. I'm not paying $3,000 for a warranty if I spent $6,000 on a car. That's just crazy. There was a few things I needed to fix because it's a simple, easy car to work on. I was able to fix those things on my own, and it didn't take anything like 20, 30 minutes. And the other thing is, it's an SUV. and I got a tow bar because I want to have a trailer hitch attached to it. Well, DFD, why the hell you want a trailer hitch attached to your SUV, right? I want to ride my motorcycle at the beach. I just don't want to ride it to the beach. Okay, I'm too old and my back will hurt too long. After about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't want to sit on that damn motorcycle no more, crotched over. It's just it get uncomfortable after a while. I want to ride my motorcycle at the beach, but not to the beach. And so I thought, man, if I put a trailer hitch on here, I could put a trailer hitch on there, get a small trailer because my bike not that big. It's probably about 500 pounds. That's nothing for a vehicle to tow. Get a small trailer, throw my bike on there, and I could ride out to the beach if we go out there for a weekend or for whatever. Wherever I want to go, I could get to, pull my bike off the trailer and ride it, and not have to ride my bike 2, 3 hours, 4, 6 hours to wherever the hell my destination is. So I was like, cheap on gas, easy to fix. I could get a tow hitch on it to tow my damn motorcycle to anywhere where I want to go. Check, check, and check. I purchased this vehicle. It cost me $6,000. And I think I'll tell you, there's also some value in having a vehicle that you really don't give a damn about. Like, let me put this into context, right? Because a couple of years ago, I had I think it was a 2003 Tahoe, but I ended up selling it because it was a pandemic. It was just sitting there. Nobody was driving it. But essentially, with that vehicle, the peace of mind was, I mean, I remember sitting in that car and somebody ran into that vehicle. And I was like, you okay? We good. All right, man. Be careful. His car was crunched up. My car was straight. But it's some value to having a vehicle that you really don't worry about, like, oh man, if somebody hit it, if it gets scratched in the parking lot. And so that actually gave me a peace of mind. So as I've been driving this vehicle around, I come to like it more and more. And it's clean as hell. I probably put a picture up at some point, but it was a clean ass vehicle, not rickety or nothing like that. And I think the person who enjoys it the most is my son, right? Because my game plan. Let's talk about this knucklehead for a minute, right? And so, that was kind of the thought process. I told my wife, she was like, yeah, that makes sense. You didn't spend all the bread you got on it. Is you got something that'll get you through. Then in 10 or 12 months, you can give it to Aaron or something like that. And he's really excited about that because one, he loves this vehicle for some strange reason. And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, what's the fascination with this vehicle? Why do you love this vehicle so much? He was like, because I know that if you got another vehicle, you'll give me this. If you got another vehicle and you still had that Mercedes, I know you wasn't gonna give me that. You wouldn't give me that vehicle. I don't care if you had six more cars. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, yeah, you're right. You don't deserve something like that. You can ride this though. You can have it because hey, if that is cool. So he's really excited about it. But if he do something stupid, I ain't giving him nothing. It's not it's help, not handouts over here. But that's the whole situation as to how that Tesla test drive had things salty in the Weeks compound for like 3 or 4 days. But hey, I don't say this that often because it's not true that often. But my wife was right. It's not true that often. Most times, I'm the one who's correct in these discussions about issues that we have to make decisions on. But I'm gonna give her credit. Okay. Honestly, since I see the looking eyes up there in the comments, honestly, most times we agree on stuff. So it's very few instances where I say A and she says B. And this was one of those instances where I wanted to do A, she wanted to do B. We ended up going with B because B was the right decision to go with, even if it's a decision that I didn't like. But it's one of those things to just show you that, hey, no matter how cool or nice you are with your finances, when you emotionally tied into something or you dig your teeth in and your heels in and say it's something you want, you will rationalize and make every BS logical reason you can on why you should get something that you probably shouldn't get at this time. Not saying you can't get it forever, but that's exactly what I did. I was like, yeah, I could. It'll be good to be able to take little man to school back and forth, get all his crap in there and all this stuff. I had all these dumbass reasons that I came up with why I should have got this vehicle. Oh, we got free supercharging for life. I had all these crazy ass ideas and rational logic, but the wife was right. Is hey, stick to the original plan. We like 10 or 12 months from having no debt besides our mortgage. The only thing that I'm thinking about, now that I think about it, is once I get to a point where I have only a mortgage, it's going to be interesting to see if I'm actually ready to pull the trigger and get a car that I don't pay for cash. You know what I mean? Like it was easy for me to rationalize getting the car because it met the parameters that I would generally apply to getting the vehicle if I had to finance a portion of it. And, like I just didn't think anything. Hey, we got the student loan debt that's, going to be gone soon, but it's still there. But once you kind of have everything zeroed out, it might be a little bit more difficult. But then the other thing too might be it also might be an option to just waiting because let's just be honest. The price that vehicle was, that Tesla was that I wanted to buy, if the only thing I had was a mortgage and I wanted to buy that vehicle, let me see. I would probably be able to buy it if I saved up in like 7 months because the only thing we would have is a mortgage. So it kind of put things into perspective. But that's how Elon Musk and his Teslas with the acronym sexy. He's such a bammer for that. Kind of caused a little strife, but I think cooler heads prevail. Hey, chalk one up to Mrs. DFD. Give her a round of applause. She used my own plan against me to make me see the foolishness of the emotional thing that I wanted to do in the moment. And so, hey, now I got a vehicle. I don't got to pay a lot for gas, and I can tow my damn bike wherever I want to go so I can ride it wherever the hell I want to ride it. So that's it. Before we get out of here, I wanted to just touch bases real quick on an interesting conversation I had with my son. Let's talk colleges and college acceptance. College has changed the whole process to just apply and the scores they accept. Like there's colleges now that they don't even require you to take an SAT or ACT. Like if your school grades and everything is on point, they'll just accept you in. So I wanted to know, I thought I had the right reaction to this. I came home. I can't remember where the hell I was at, but I came home and everybody's home. And, I see my wife sitting down and she was like, Aaron has some news to tell you. He's really excited. You're going to be excited. And I'm like, school just started, so I know it ain't like a good report card or nothing. School just started, so what can it be? And so she calls him. She was like, Aaron, come on down. So he come downstairs looking all light skinned and stupid. I'm like, why he got this stupid? He just got a stupid look on his face. He kind of cheesy, and I'm like, what the hell is he looking so stupid for? So his school had a college tour where all these colleges came to this school and the kids can go and inquire about the schools and talk to some of the students and the administrators, faculty, the whole nine. And so he goes downstairs. He run down the stairs. And his, he ain't got no shoes on, so I his big ass feet hitting the floor. Then he comes back up. He standing there looking stupid with a do rag on. He ain't even tied the back. I didn't teach this kid nothing. And so he's holding a piece of paper in his hand. And I'm looking like, what the hell is this piece of paper? Like, did you get a? I have no clue what the paper is. And he was like, hey, I got accepted to a college at the college fair. They gave me an on-site. They were doing on-site acceptance, right? Now my son took his SAT. I think I did a video where I talked about his scores and everything, and he did okay, above average. He did better than me. He definitely did better than I did. So if that's any consolation, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Um, but he was really excited about it, and it was a HBCU. Hey, y'all know me. I'm a fan of historically black colleges and universities because I went to historically black college and university, and I think there's a dope experience and it gives you a dope perspective on things. Historically black colleges are more than just Deion Sanders coaching there. Um, so it was Fisk University in Tennessee. He holding the paper out, and he's standing there looking stupid. Like imagine a 16-year-old kid standing there with a do rag on, holding this acceptance letter out, all close in my damn face. I'm like, man, back up, so I can see, back up, so I can see this acceptance letter. So he was like, look, they had on-site admissions, and they looked at my grades and everything, and I got in. They accepted me on the spot to Fisk University at HBCU in Tennessee, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Now was I happy? Like, yeah, I was happy, but I don't think it was something to be like super uber excited for because I don't know. Maybe this is just me. I was like, I was really calm. Like, everybody else was really elated. I just was like, okay, you got accepted into this college on the spot. That's cool. They said they can have scholarships and stuff. That's cool. Maybe it's just me. I feel like it's premature to get excited about a college acceptance and you haven't even graduated high school yet. Even though I know, yeah, unless something crazy happened, I know the boy's gonna graduate. But the first thing I said was I was like, okay, that's dope, but let's not put the cart before the horse. You're still in the first quarter of your last school year. You still got to hold things down. I'm sure if you jack up and have some crappy grades this year, they gonna look and be like, nah, fam, we changed our mind. So, I don't know. My wife was like, you could have been a little bit more excited, but like, no, I'm a dad. It's not a dad's job to get overly excited about things. It's a dad's job to make sure that his son keeps things in perspective and put things in his proper context. So, like, yes, I was like, yes, hey, son. I gave him a hug. I was like, hey, bring it in. I was like, good job. I'm proud of you. You got accepted into Fisk University, on site admission, hey, at the college fair. All that's dope. That's cool. But there's nothing to clap about because you're still in your first year of school. You still got to do all the work to get through this year to keep that. You still got to make sure you're applying for the scholarships and do all of that other stuff. So I don't know. I just don't think it was something to be like. I hope I didn't bust their bubble. If I did, hey, hey, as a young black male, you have to learn how to put things in perspective. And don't every reaction isn't up here, but every reaction isn't down here. Sometimes the reactions have to be right exactly where they are in the middle. And I think that was good. And even when I explained it to him, like as we were talking about it, he was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. It makes sense. And I was like, yeah, I don't want you to say, okay, well, I got one of my homegirls told me like, oh, good for him. He has his backup school already locked in. And I didn't think of it that way. I was like, okay, like, yeah, if if you don't get into your choice one or two, you got a school that you can get into that you're happy with, that has the program you want to take and all of that other stuff. And I didn't think of it that way. But I think my son understood. He probably understood a little bit more than my wife. My wife thought I was going to be like, "Yay, high five up top," and skipping around the house and shit. I'm not doing that. Like, okay, you got accepted into a college when they did on-site acceptance, the first quarter of your last year of school. That's what you got. You got a round of applause. Now finish out the school year strong, and then we'll circle back. Because for me, I think it's more excitement. And okay, well, apply to those one, two, three schools that you're looking for. And when you get into one of those, that's where you could really be. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit different, but I feel like it's my responsibility. Like if your mom was already overly excited, I don't need to be overly excited about it, right? I need to make sure you're putting it in the right perspective and context so you know what the goals are. Plus, I know my son. You got to know what you're working with. I know my son. If he get too excited about something, he can't know that something is a given. You know what I mean? Oh, I got into school. He'll take his foot off the gas. That's why I had the reaction I had. My reaction was based on how he reacts to things. If he thinks, okay, I'm good. I already got everything. I'm in this school. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I don't want him to take his damn foot off the gas. Like, nah, put your foot on the gas. Finish this damn school year up strong. I don't care about this acceptance that they gave you, because if you jack up this school year, they probably gonna pull it any damn way. So like he's is the I tell him he has the curse of being smart. When you're really smart, sometimes I think people who tend to be really smart, they always don't, especially when they're younger, they always don't put the best effort uh, up. So to keep them from doing that, I'm being a dream buster. No, I'm not being a dream buster, man. I'm being a realist, man. I don't know. I think I don't know, man. I think too many times, I think I think parents gas their kids up too much, right? Like I think parents gas their kids up, but I also think it's different depending on the household situation. Let's talk about that for a minute. Since you called me a dream buster, like you're like, man, I got into college, Dad. I'm like, big whoop. I got into college and on-site admission. And I'm just like, and but let's talk about this for a minute, okay? Now, I don't think I'm being a dream buster, right? I think I think a lot of times, not all the times. I think a lot of times, I think parents tend to overly gas their kids up, even if they aren't great in something. Like, ask my son. My son makes music, and if he's like, "Man, what you think of this new song?" If it's trash, I'd be like, "I don't know, son. That ain't it." But I got '90s hip hop ears, but that ain't it. But I feel like I always want to be the parent who, like, I don't want to overgas my son up for something that's good, but not necessarily great. And I know what a great accomplishment would be for him. So when he accomplishes something great, I'll have a great reaction. But when you have the accomplishment, when you accomplish your backup plan, the backup plan isn't something that you should really get excited about. Okay, that's your backup. That's You don't get excited about the backup until all the other stuff fall through. You got to see where you fall with all the others before you get to the backup. If that makes sense. But I think sometimes I used to coach a sports baseball team, right? And I had to stop doing that because when you coach little kids, they was like real little, like maybe 5 or 6. And when you coach little kids, you can't overtly be like, "Golly, your son needs to play hockey or something because he sucks." You can't say that. You always got to say something positive. So you got to be like, even if the kid can't hit and he up there and he strike out every time, like, hey, good effort. You swinging that bat harder every time, Timmy. Like, no, and like I don't know. I'm not a participation trophy person, and I want my kids to keep things in perspective. But it also depends on how the house dynamic is. Okay, I think my mother probably gassed me up a little bit more than I would have if I were raising me, but that's what she had to do because it was just her. You know what I mean? So I think it's different when you have both parents in the household. I already know my son gave my wife some information and he's excited about it. She's excited about it. So she already poured all that gasoline, gassing him up. So he just hot, his flame burning real hot. It's my job. I don't want his fire to burn too high right now, and I don't want it to burn too low. If it burns too high, he may take something for granted and not do what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure he's right in the middle. So because I already know because of the conversation, hey, she gave him praises for it is a big deal. I'm gonna give him his props for it, but I'm gonna put it in perspective. So I think it's easier to be what Bernie would call a dream buster, even though I wasn't a dream buster. I'm just a person who put things in their proper context. If you got one parent who gasses up everything the child does, I think you should have another parent who put things in the perspective that the child does. Like, okay, yeah, what you did was great, but remember, you can do more. Don't forget about the task at hand. The job's not done. It goes back to that question that I put on is getting into college an achievement. And I was like, I personally don't think getting into college is an achievement. Well, some people are like, oh, what if it's Harvard? Like, no, I don't think it's an achievement. Like, okay, I don't know. I don't think you've achieved something until you finish the process, not when you begin it. Now, if you get a full scholarship, That's different. And an achievement and a celebration are two different things. Can we celebrate something that's not an achievement? Yeah, people do it all the time. I mean, like, yeah, like, but for me, I don't think getting into college is an achievement. I think graduating college is the accomplishment. It is the achievement. Getting into college can be celebrated, but that's just the start of the race. It's not the end. And I don't know about y'all, but where I come from, nobody ever got like, oh man, you did a great job lining up at the start of the race, brother. Like, nah, like I'm just not doing that. Um, I'm not doing that, for my son especially. Like it may be a little bit. Some things could be different when you have a daughter, but for my son, like nah, I'm always gonna put everything in proper context for my son because I want him to know that hey, you a you a black male. Ain't nobody coming out here to save you. All right, ain't no lady coming to. I don't know, possibly, but ain't nobody coming to whisk you off your feet to a life of luxury where you don't have to work ever again. Nah, you gotta work for everything you get. You gotta hustle for everything you earn. My daughter is the same way, and that's the same way. But hey, boys and girls are different. It is that it is. Like when your daughter get married, you expect your daughter to marry somebody who can. It's the whole point that people had arranged marriages historically. You expect your daughter to marry somebody who will be able to at least provide a life that she's used to or a better life. It doesn't necessarily mean you're trying to marry somebody with a bag, but you want to marry somebody with some ambitions, somebody who's responsible, who can make sure that hey, in the future, y'all can have a collective bag. So her and your grandbabies can have a good life. You don't want your kids to be a so. With that being said, I think it's more pressure on my son to understand that yo, you got to work for it. Just because you got this, your job is not done. You still got more stuff to do. My daughter understands that concept, but I think she understands that concept a lot because she's a dancer. She's always had to compete. She's tried out to be a dancer for the Mystics or the Wizards and didn't make it and was down about it. And then what she do? She bust her ass, and you know what she does now? She dances for the Mystics and she dances for the Wizards. So that's kind of the perspective I put it in. I just wanted to shout out some people who are in the chat. What's going on, Aaron? Yeah, some, my son and his early acceptance. I didn't even know they do that. It's so I don't know. I think that's stupid. It's early acceptance to college before you even graduate. Like, unless you're a top athlete, that really doesn't make sense to me. But hey, I digress. Maybe we have different opinions. I would like to know your thoughts on if accepted to college or university, join a frat sorority or no. Interesting. Interesting. I'll say it depends on the person. I thought I was a fraternity guy, but I ended up not being a fraternity guy. You know what I mean? And it just depends on what they do. Like one, I never had the need to have a lot of friends or brothers. Trust me, when we had, I went to college an hour away from where I stayed. So when it was parties and I wanted the crew to come up, I could make a phone call and I had 30 of my friends. Hey, we all going to this party. Like I had the whole uh former goon squad come up and all going to a college party on campus. So I was never really a person to feel the need to. I thought they were doing dope stuff. Let's start out that way. I thought they were doing dope stuff. I initially was like, yeah, this is cool to do. But as I went through the process, I was like, you know what? It wasn't something for me. I'm gonna let my kids make their own decision on that. But for me, it wasn't anything that was like I typically was just kind of like, like it was, and I think part of it was because it was more about partying than actually doing stuff. And you got to understand when I went to college, I was a little bit older than everybody else. So when I went to college, I'd already been in my first few years. I was younger in college, and I just wasn't doing it because I had enough friends. Trust me, and I was all my boys from around the way. They was only an hour away. But then when I went back to college, I was a little bit older and I didn't really care about partying. I partied places that most people would probably never go in their life. So I didn't really give a damn about partying. I thought it was more dope to see fraternities or sororities who actually do stuff in the community. And I didn't see a lot of that happen. So it just didn't intrigue me personally. I was just kind of like, Wolverine never went to a college. P&P with a party at. Hey, man, don't bring that up, man. Wolverine, I don't think you went to. I don't think you came up though. I don't think you came up, man. It was my brother, my guy B, a couple of our other boys. I don't know where you was at. I don't know if he was working or something. It had to be some reason because I know I wouldn't invite all of them and not invite you. So either you was MIA or something. But I don't think you came up to any parties on the colleges. It was dope. It was dope to have all my boys on the college campus with me. Of course, it got crazy, but that's a whole nother story for a live that I do. That's definitely after midnight. But yeah, fraternities and sororities are cool. It's just up to the individual and it's up to what they do. And that was kind of always my take on it. But yeah, my son was real excited about his acceptance letter. And then the funny part is he did something stupid as always. Not a day go by where he doesn't do something stupid. And I can't remember what it was. What did he do? He did something stupid. And I was like, why would you do that? That's stupid. And his reply was, I got accepted early into a college. And I was like, really? I was like, so anytime you do something stupid between now and the time you graduate, you're gonna be like, I got accepted into college early. Nobody want to hear that, which is stupid. Man, go get go get out of here, man. It was kind of ridiculous, but it is something to be excited about, but it's not an achievement because you haven't even graduated high school yet, bro. Go ahead, finish this year out, finish off strong. And it just depends on a person's mentality. Some people got a mindset where you always got to gas them up to keep them motivated and keep them interested. Other people got a mentality like, nah, I'm not gonna gas you up. I'm gonna give you if something is subpar or is average or is so or is suck, you need to expressly know that it's subpar, that is average, that is suck, so you can adjust, so you can do better. And I think that's kind of the balance. Like I know when I was in law school, I didn't even get into law school straight up, right? Like your boy didn't even get into law school straight up, right? I had like great grades and academic credentials, but like my LSAT score was kind of goofy. The LSAT is like the law school SAT. It was kind of goofy. So they let me in, and I told this story before, through a performance-based admissions program. It was called PBAP. And they would essentially say, you know what? Y'all come down to school for like 7 or 10 days, right? It was something like that. They paid for housing, they paid for like room and board, your food you can eat at the cafeteria, and all of that. And while you were there for that 10 days, they divided all the kids up into two sections. One section took classes in property, the other section took classes in torts like civil law, negligence, and all of that stuff. And you would go to class every morning. You was in class for like 2 hours. You would have tests, and based on your performance was the determinant of if you got in. And law school is mad competitive. Like you go to the library, check out a book to try to get a better understanding of something, and somebody cut the damn pages out. Like it's kind of wild. And so they didn't want it to be super competitive. They wanted everybody to kind of help each other out. So the first thing they said was, when y'all get here, there's enough slots for all of y'all if everybody performs well. So we don't want y'all trying to slit each other throats to get in and sabotage people, right? And so, this goes to, and I tell this story to talk about sometimes you need to be gassed up, but sometimes you need to know when you suck or when something isn't that dope. And I remember the very first test they got, I thought I knocked it out of the park. I was like, man, I murdered that test. I killed it. When I got my score back, I got like a D minus. And I was like, damn, I got a D minus. I was like, man, I'm not about to go to law school. And I think we had 3 tests during that time. We had 3 tests. Then we had an oral argument we had to make, right? Yeah, so 3 tests and an oral argument. The first test, I got like a D minus. And I'm like, coming from somebody who I damn near had got a photographic memory. And I don't know. I never really studied until I got to law school because I really didn't have to. So making A's were just something that was just easy to do. And so I remember I was walking around campus mad down, and this is how it's balanced if you got a functioning overall household. I called my mother first, and she was like, "What's going on?" She could already tell. I could, Mama DFD was like, "What's going on?" I can tell by your voice something going on. I was like, "Mom, I got." Man, I took that first test. I thought I knocked it out of the park. I got a D minus. And my mother, as a mother should, she was like, "You know something, baby? I know you can do it. Just pray, and the good old Lord, you just pray and work, and the Lord will make a way. If it's for you, it'll be for you." My mother told me something that was so motivating. When I hung up that phone, like I was like, "Yeah, I could do this. I got this. It's gonna be okay. It's just one test." I was feeling really motivated. So, I walked back across campus. Then after I'm feeling good, what I do? I called my father. I probably should have called this fool first. I called my father. I was like, "Man, it was rough today, but I talked to mom. She made me feel better." "Well, what happened?" I tell him like, "Man, I got my first test back. I got a D minus." What was his first response? "Damn, you got D minus? Did everybody get D minuses?" I was like, he's like, "I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. You messing up. This law school thing might not be for you." My mom said something that had me up here. My dad had said something that dropped me all the way down, but it kind of had me right where I needed to be. I was like, okay. My mom's gave me a motivation to where I could do it. And my dad gave me the motivation he motivated me from two standpoints. Like, hey, no matter how it play out, it could be good or bad. It's not going to be the end of the world. But the other part was like, damn, let me do better. Because if I don't do better, this dude he gonna let me know about it. But I think that was the balance that I needed. So I think that's the balance that you're never as good as everybody say you are, but you're never as bad as everybody say you are. You're right in between for the most part. That's where you are, and that's just kind of what I want to instill in him. Like, yo, just because you did this one thing is dope, but there's more to do. It is the process isn't over. That's like you playing in the NBA finals and you win two games. You can't get excited for winning two games because you still got to win two more to win a damn championship. And that's just kind of the mantra that oh yeah. That just was in a trouble neighborhood. Yeah, you didn't go to the party though. I don't think you went to the party. Did you? Did you go to the frat parties that we was going to out there? Because I know B came out that joint once and he stayed the night because he stayed at our dorm. That joint was funny as I don't know what. That's definitely not a story for the channel. But yeah, man. But all historically black colleges and universities are in bad neighborhoods. Not all. Well, all of them that I've been to a lot, most of them. But if you go to Harvard, like my son went to go visit Harvard, and Harvard isn't in the, you think Harvard would be in a beautiful neighborhood. Harvard is in a crazy neighborhood. That neighborhood outside of Harvard look like you'll get shot. So, that's just typically that's how a lot of colleges are because they put colleges in the inner city where they need them. And a lot of times they're in places that aren't the greatest places in the world. So, that's not uncommon. But yeah, it was humbling struggling to get B's. Yeah. Hey, that's what my pops told me. He was like, "Hey, C's get degrees." He was like, "C's get degrees." So, he always put stuff in proper context. But my pop is like, and I tell my son all the time, my pops is the guy like, if you tell him some good news, like, okay, he gonna be excited, but he gonna be like, okay, that's great, but like, okay, don't forget about this, and this. My pops is just a weird guy too. Like I told my son, like I can count the number of times that my pops told me I love you, like on one hand. Like, like I remember a couple of times as a kid. I remember like right before I got deployed to go to Iraq. And my son had me rolling because my son went to go stay with grandpa for a week this summer. And he was like, grandpa dropped me off at the airport. And after I left, I was like, all right, grandpa, I love you. And he was like, I enjoy having you here. And gave me a hug and kind of slapped me on my back. And I was like, yeah, that's grandpa. Grandpa ain't gonna be all soft telling you he love you every 5 seconds. But it's weird because I'm the opposite. Like I tell my son that all the time. Because I'd be like, man, let me tell this dude that all the time. I don't know if it's possible to say it too much, but damn, you got a perfect score. That's crazy. How you get a perfect score on the math side? and a 580 on the verbal reasoning, then you cry. You cry, but that's still a good score though. Overall, you had a pretty good score. Like I don't know, mine was like the. I'm trying to think. I maybe did about the same on both of them. I think I did a little higher on the verbal side. I don't know. I can't recall, but yeah, like nah. Overall, you probably got a good total score. But that's good that you cried about it. Like I don't know. I don't think I ever cried over like a bad grade or something like that. Like nah, I got a few bad grades in my day, but I don't think I ever cried over like getting a bad grade. And if I would have cried over a bad grade, it would have been in high school, and I didn't really care enough to cry. So in high school, like man, I got a D. I was like, oh well, doo-doo-doo. Like it wasn't a big deal. Then because once I got to the point where I was like, after my guidance counselor insulted me and told me I wasn't college material, I just never got D's after that because like I just like proving people wrong. But I don't know, grades were never something that would make me cry, especially like I don't know, like in high school or college, because you got so much damn work to do. Maybe if I got like a D in actual law school, not the trying to get into law school course I was in, but if I would have got like an actual D in law school, maybe I probably would have been a little bit down because that grade would have stuck with you. But yeah, see, yeah, no parties though. You was just up there chilling. Yeah, I don't know where you was at when we went to the parties. There had to be some reason. I know I'm gonna take my son up to my alma mater for homecoming. That should be interesting. My husband boyfriend at the time has a degree in English, literature, and grammar. I still remember the words I got wrong. If you, what was one of the words? Tell me what was one of the words because I probably don't know it. So like, you tell me one of the words. It's gonna be some complex word that I don't know. Like, yeah. I'm not the. I've never the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to leave. That's not a flex to be the smartest person in the room. It's like terrible. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to leave and enter another room. But I already know. I generally say I'm never the smartest person in the room. I'm the hardest worker in the room. It is very few people who gonna outwork and out hustle me. There's a lot of people who smarter than me, but it ain't too many people who gonna outwork me. Because if I don't get something, I stay there all year until I figure that damn thing out. I'm like, you know what? We about to get to the bottom of this. But yeah, that's how the whole college thing is. It's weird because my son is like real amped up about his senior year for some reason. Like, I mean, I don't know. I was excited about senior year, but like he really like, oh man, like I'm getting my license. I want to get a car. Like he really excited to do all of this stuff. And I remember he came home after his first week of school. Like I can't. He said something to the effect of, oh man, like being a senior now, I really feel comfortable. And what did I do? I burst this bubble, as Bernadette said. I burst this bubble, and I think he was like, "Man, I feel real comfortable now that I'm senior." And I looked at him and I was like, "Well, enjoy it, because when you get to college, you're gonna be a freshman, and you ain't gonna be shit." Then I just walked off. I was like, enjoy it while it lasts, because once you graduate, you go to college, you're gonna be a freshman, starting all over from scratch. And he was just looking at me, looking all stupid. I don't even want to click on this word because I know I don't know this word. Okay, first I had to clean my glasses off and double take because I was like, "What what?" Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so what's the? Hey, I don't even. I have no clue what that word means. I saw it and I was like, "No, she didn't type this in the chat." I was about to block you. I was about to block you, but it wasn't what I thought it was. So quick. Okay. All right. See? No. Nope. Don't. No. Now you're loquacious. What is the definition of that? Because I'm not gonna look it up because I literally don't know the definition of that word. Of either one of those words, actually. So if you use them, you know what I would be doing? I would be sitting here just looking at you like I would use my context clues. If you if you use those words in a sentence or I saw it written, I would be able to figure out what the hell it means using my context clues. Oh, see? Look at that. I was like, no. I was like, see? I was like, what? No. I was like, no. No, if I saw that written somewhere, I'd be like, if you don't, I would deduct points from a paper of someone who used that word. Like, why is that important anyway? Like, why is knowing that word actually something that a person should be tested on who's trying to get into college? Like, I guarantee you, have you ever, I've never heard a professor in college or law school use either one of those words. That goes to show that that okay, all right, okay, yeah, all right, okay. No, that's yeah, that would be oh yeah, that's interesting. Like, but have you ever seen anyone use those in normal everyday? Like, no, I'm around a bunch of brainiacs all the time, and I've never heard one of those words used at any level. Like, words I saw on the SAT, I've never seen or heard again in life. So yeah, I don't know. I think standardized test is like kind of a dumb metric for measuring someone's ability to be successful in like a collegiate program or something. Like, take this test, and how you do on this test will determine how good of a doctor or lawyer you will be. Like, even in the NFL, they would make the quarterbacks take uh, a test called the Wonderlic test. I don't know if they still make them take it, but it's a test that got like math problems and word comprehension problems. What the hell does that have to do with football? Never. That is why I got the wrong. Yeah, because nobody. Yeah, that's yeah. Standardized tests are just kind of a goofy way to police. I think in general. I think standardized tests in general are a goofy way to police the system or to protect certain professions. Like, no, like, can you go to law school without having to take an LSAT? Yes. None of those stupid ass logic games. Yeah, not at all. No one. If someone used those words, if I wish I would hear someone use those words. If I was like if someone was conducting participating in a job interview and I was sitting on the board and you used a word that I didn't know, I would be like, because I I would have to judge your ability to use common sense by using a word that isn't commonly used in everyday English vernacular. Like, I don't know. I think I would have to judge somebody, but yeah, standardized tests are really goofy. I think I don't think they are indicative of a person's ability to perform. Some people just do great on them. Some people do terrible on them, but it doesn't mean that you'll suck at college or your profession. I know. I'm gonna find my SAT score. I wonder. You probably could still put it up online. I should. That's what I should do. Like, hey, let's everybody post their SAT score. I'm gonna start a trend. I'm gonna get my SAT score and I'm gonna post it. And I'm gonna be like, even with SAT scores like this, you could become a relatively successful counselor at law. If you got your SAT score, go ahead and post it. I know a lot of people won't post it, but I will put mine up because I already know my SAT score wasn't that great. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I know, like, some people may post it. I know Trump won't post his, but some people won't. But I would post mine if I could find it. I will put it up there. That's funny. Yeah, yeah, I know. My son is that word definitely fit him. I bet you he don't know what that words mean. He might. He might. He a little bit smarter than I. He might be a lot smarter than what I was at his age. He just don't work as hard. That goes back to the original point. Hard work and effort, it will get you a lot farther than just IQ intelligence. But yeah, that's it for this video. That's how my wife won the argument with relation to the car. My son got into college, but whoop de doo. Okay, finish the school year, and then we'll get excited later on. But hey, you got to keep things balanced, man. No one's too no. You're not as good as they say you are. You're not as bad as you say you are. You're just somewhere in the middle. I know they changed how they score. Even on the LSAT now, they use your best scores that you get on the LSAT. And I remember when I took it, they used your average score. Because the first time I did terrible because I just was arrogant. I was like, it's just a test. I'll figure it out. And the second time, I actually put a little effort in, and I did amazing. But they ended up taking the average of the school. Because if I could, oh, that second school, oh man, I would have been in I'd have been at Cambridge. I could have got into Brown or something like that. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. Enjoy y'all Sunday. Take care. Peace.